It's Monday, February 17th, 2020, and it's time for the Monday News Brief. Welcome to the Monday News Brief, a weekly web series brought to you by CDT-TV, a part of the Central Dakota Times, where we highlight some of the events happening around Central South Dakota. I'm your host, Nate Iverson, and in this week's episode, we're joined again by Chamberlain School District Superintendent Dr. Deb Johnson. She'll be giving a regular update on the Chamberlain School District, school board, and some of the things you can expect to see coming in the end of February and into early March. Also, if you enjoy the content we post online, we kindly invite you to join us on our website, www.centraldakotaTimes.org. We also have content on our YouTube channel by searching Central Dakota Times newspaper on YouTube, and search for us on Facebook by looking up Central Dakota Times. And as always, be sure to pick up your very own copy of the Central Dakota Times newspaper every Wednesday mornings wherever newspapers are sold in Central South Dakota. Let's get to the interview. Dr. Deb Johnson.
Yes, good morning.
It's been another month.
Yes, already.
It's warming up.
Yep.
It's all good. Let's just go ahead and dive right into it. Let's start with some of the older business.
Okay.
You know, some of the things to touch up on January, then move through February.
Sure.
We'll go that way. So let's just start. Have there been any date additions or changes? I know the school board listed some of the changes to the dates in 2020, 2021, but is there anything in the rest of this school year?
For this school year, now our last school day will be May 15th, which is a Friday. Graduation's still on the 16th, and then the teachers have a work day on the 18th.
Okay.
And right now that's where we're at. So we'll see how the weather cooperates through the rest of the year, and it may not stay that way.
All right.
Yeah.
Perfect. How about next year?
Well, we start school on the 19th of August, which is a Wednesday. We always like to have a short week for the first week for the younger children. It makes it much easier on them.
Sure.
So we do that, and homecoming will be, I think it's in September 11th. Yep, we have homecoming already in September, so
okay.
Up early. But
Is
we'll
that
already have been in school for
4 weeks.
3.5 weeks.
Yeah. Is that earlier than normal? But
it is, but because of the football schedule.
Oh.
And then the next one would be way into October because of when we'd have the next home game.
Sure.
So.
And really, in the grand scheme of things, it's like 2 week difference.
Right.
So.
Yeah, and we like to have a volleyball game and a football game home that week.
Oh, that's really cool.
And that works well for us. Okay, so
Sweet.
that's what we did with that one.
Okay, let's wrap up some of the things from the strategic plan. I'd like to talk about that. January was professional development.
Yes.
And we talked about, some of the trainings that people were attending. So that was in the beginning of January. Were there any improvements or things discussed kind of toward the end?
Well, we had for our professional development day, we had a national speaker come in, and then we had our staff working on their curriculum mapping.
Okay.
Their plans for their curriculum work.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
And that's what the speaker. That's what he was.
No, he was all about. We read his book called Culturize.
Okay.
And then he focused on some points in his book about the culture of your school, what you can do, some of those different things.
Sure. Who was that?
Jimmy Casas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Moving into February now, what are some of the things that the district is looking at in the strategic plan for the next month?
Okay, so what we did on Monday was we focused on the communication aspect of the district.
Okay.
What we do for communication and how we're going to do that, whether it be through school messenger, emails, Cub Nation, whatever it happens to be.
Sure.
And one of the things that was brought up by a board member, which is already going to be addressed at the elementary, is the number of different apps that are used with staff members and parents. And parents are wondering if we can come up with a more universal app to use so that parents don't have to have so many different apps on their phone. If you have two or three children, then you've got 2 or 3 different apps as to who's communicating with you. So. And
then you start juggling passwords.
Right. So we're going to try to narrow that down for them.
Okay. So communication, is that kind of just focused on the district to the parents, or is there some other things too, like maybe teachers communicating with the
and it's teachers communicating, also us communicating with the community. How are we going to do that?
Sure.
Those kinds of things.
So it's kind of a pretty broad.
Very broad, and it's never anything that's done. We always have to try to improve our communication.
Right.
So that's kind of where we're at with that.
So you just happen to pick new apps and stuff this time around, and
that was brought up at the meeting, so it was a good time to discuss it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Cool. Looking forward to hearing more about that. The parent survey, this is something that is on Cub Nation on the social media platforms and looking for, some engagement from the parents. Is that something that the district does quite a bit, is put out surveys and try and work with the parents and maybe the community? And then what is the purpose of this one?
Okay. Well, I believe Mr. Steckelberg put it out.
Okay.
And overall, I think it has to do with something that was recommended to them through their advanced ed accreditation. Mm-hmm. Now, we don't do it a lot through social media because you have no way to manage any of it.
Anyone can take it.
Yes, anyone can take it. What we've done with parent surveys where we really have to have the information, whether it be for a state report or some type of programming that we're looking at, is we send an individual email to a parent that has a link on it.
Sure.
And we may notify them through social media, please be watching for this in your email so that you can take it. And then that way we know who gets the survey. We really don't know who responds because it's anonymous.
Right.
But at least we know who it's going out to. So we don't do it through social media a lot, but I think it's a great way to see what response they get. And then Mr. Steckelberg said this survey will also be available at parent-teacher conferences this week.
Cool.
So
good to know.
Try it both ways.
All right. And this month is a little bit shorter, but I know last month, because the winter break was quite a while, principals didn't do any reports last month. Were there any principal reports for this month so far?
Yes, the principals did their reports at the board meeting.
Okay.
And they highlighted different things that are going on. Of course, conferences were mentioned. The elementary school had a walkthrough, with a family-friendly walkthrough, they call it.
Okay.
So they had parents, staff members, and people from a state organization that came in. They toured the school, they had meetings, and Mr. Allman said he thought it was very successful, and they don't have the results back from that, but they will be getting some feedback as to how they can improve the elementary school.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, so I thought it was really neat. Yeah.
So like parents are giving input on the school and so are officials?
Yes, yeah.
Gotcha.
So they'll get it from two different...
So it's like a graded open house.
Yeah, right. So I think it was really a great thing for the elementary to do, to open your doors and say, come on in, and it was structured, but they'll still be able to get some great feedback from that.
Sweet.
Yep. And then Ms. Goodrich talked about the rewards and awards for her students and how those numbers are increasing because students want to be able to participate in the events because of positive attendance, good behavior, getting all their assignments in, those kinds of things.
And this is all part of the PBIS program?
Right,
okay.
Right. And then Mr. Steckelberg focused on numbers of students who had passed grades. He had data on comparison from last year to this year and how much better it is this year for assignment completion and passing of classes.
Awesome.
So those were the highlights from each of those.
Cool. And then how about yourself? Superintendent's report.
Well, I talked about several different things, but one was congratulations to the one-act play and crew. They received a superior rating on their play. Many individual acting awards, and the crew also received a superior rating. And then also our gymnastics team, as they will be going to the state tournament or state event as a team, which we didn't know if they were going to do that. They placed third.
Okay.
And the third place team is the final team from the region that will go as a team. So
great.
They were just very excited about that.
Awesome.
It's always more enjoyable to go as a team, and then they'll also compete individually on Saturday.
Okay. And they got to do that at home too, right?
Yes,
it
was at the Armory, so we had to take everything from here down there.
Yep.
Because it was a region meet, we wouldn't have had enough up here. But all of our regular meets are held up here. The region was held at the Armory.
Sure. Okay. And then just a really quick staffing update. Is there anything? How's the superintendent search going?
It's going well. They are the board is interviewing on Tuesday, September 18th.
Wow.
So they have candidates in place.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So
we should know soon who the new superintendent will be.
Not September, but you mean...
I mean February.
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry.
I didn't think about that for a second.
Do you want me to do that over?
Nah, it's fine. We'll leave it there.
All right.
So, cool. Well, Dr. Johnson, thanks again for your time.
You're welcome.
Thanks for joining us for another edition of the Monday News Brief brought to you by CDT-TV, a part of the Central Dakota Times. Until next time, I'm your host, Nate Iverson, and have a great day.